Welcome back to the Afro Qi podcast. Today's conversation is going to be very personal to me, especially right now as I contemplate the next phase of my spiritual and fitness journey. Today's guest is not only a nutrition, mindset, and fitness coach, she is also a formal bodybuilder who helps women heal their relationship with food and their bodies while achieving their fitness goals without restrictions. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Alexis, the founding owner of Lexi Fitness. Welcome to the podcast, Alexis. Welcome to
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, I am so happy to have you guys. Before we hit record, I was just chatting. I was like, I feel like I already know you.
Yeah.
So for you guys that don't know, when was it? March of 2021. Yeah, last year, March, I competed in my very first bodybuilding competition in the bikini division. And leading up, so I was already training for the competition, and then COVID hit. And my old trainer kind of ghosted me. Like, he had his own personal gym. I think at that time, he was probably worried about the sustainability of his gym. So just as his private bodybuilding coach, he kind of just ghosted me. He gave me some home workouts, and literally after that email of my home workouts, I have yet to hear from him to this day. So that kind of derailed my journey to the stage, and then I eventually got another coach. But I was on YouTube, y'all, looking around, and I wanted to find a woman of color that was competing, and that's how I found Alexis. I was like, oh my God, like, somebody else like is competing. Like, I'm so excited because I just didn't see many women that look like me competing. And I just really love, and still do, I still watch your YouTube to this day. I really love how realistic and personable you are. It's not all glossy glam. It's like, this is the real deal of the fitness journey. This is the real deal of the road to the stage. I even remember your YouTube of you like crying, talking about like how you were just ready to transition. Like, and I felt that I was right there crying with you. I was like, girl, this is too much. Like, I felt it. Like, I was right there on that couch with you. I was like, girl, it's going to be okay. We're going to make it through. But yeah, so guys, welcome Alexis to the podcast. Like I said, I feel like I've known her for some years now.
Right. That's the beauty of it. Thank you. That was an amazing introduction. I'm like,
I know I'm so long-winded.
I love it. No, but me and Kiera, I feel like I know you too. You know what I mean? That was kind of where my journey started, was bikini bodybuilding. And same thing, I didn't see any woman of color really competing or at least being consistent. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to document my journey and be able to look back, because right now, completely different life. And I can look back at those videos and be like, wow, like that was when I was struggling with binge eating. Like, wow, that was when I was struggling with body dysmorphia and I was literally 10 pounds lower than I am now. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy journey. And honestly, I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Yes, I'm so excited. So I saw, it was a little while ago, I saw you change your name or just something in your bio, not your name, but like your bio caption, and you added spiritual to it. And that really stood out to me because people always ask me like, here, why in the world would you ever want to compete in a bodybuilding show? Like, what were you thinking? And it's hard for me to put into words, but I explained to people that it was truly a spiritual journey that I was on. My road to the stage was more so like my road of being okay with visibility. So I own my own mental health practice, but my mental health practice was brick and mortar. So this land of like online world and social media, that really wasn't my story, because my business was brick and mortar. You pull up to the office, you park, you come in, you see your therapist. But in 2020, kind of when the world shut down, we had to open up and become more visible online. And I started to feel just some little reservations just with my visibility, my fear of being seen, or my fear for people to look at me. And I know I'm an expert in my field. I know I'm a wealth of knowledge, but again, just that visibility online was very uncomfortable for me. And I started to check in with myself and check in with my therapist. And she kind of pointed out like, here, you have a fear of being seen. And I was like, I do? She was like, yeah. And then we tracked it all the way to my childhood. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. Like I'm going to work on my spiritual journey and my connection to healing my childhood. And I'm going to use the road to the stage as a tool to help me not be afraid of being seen. I mean, you're on that stage with a bikini on and some heels. Like the world gonna see you. Ain't no hiding when you're up there.
You're seen.
Yes, everybody can see you. So I explain kind of that was my connection to my spirituality and just my wellness journey. And since then, I'm not, of course, stage lean, but I have kept up with my wellness. Like it has truly just became a lifestyle. So I'm interested in knowing like how your spiritual journey impacted your fitness, or vice versa, how your fitness impacted your spiritual journey.
Yeah, so it was a long journey. Like I started off bodybuilding. Well, I was an athlete my entire life. And then when I had got to college, I lost that athleticism. I didn't really know how to maintain athleticism. And I wasn't going to cheer for my college because you had to pay for that. And I wasn't going to do that. So, you know, I was a huge party girl in college. So, you know, binge drinking, binge eating, gained a bunch of unhealthy weight, just felt extremely just not happy. And I tried to lose weight the only way I knew how, and that was tons of cardio and chicken and vegetables. Like just eat as clean as possible, no carbs. And yeah, I would lose the weight, but I would gain it back. And I was stuck in this yo-yo cycle, right? So what had got me into bodybuilding specifically, the same thing. I had a girl on YouTube that I love to watch. Her name's Heidi Summers, Buff Bunny. She has like a very big presence, and I just love her energy. And I was inspired, and I was like, dang, like it takes a lot of discipline, like to do that. So I had gotten to a place where I was constantly yo-yo dieting, constant restriction, overeating. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of my own crap in a way. Like I'm tired of being lazy. I'm tired of saying I'm going to do something and not doing it over and over and over again, knocking my confidence down every single time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to compete because I feel like it's going to quite literally like force me to, one, be disciplined, show myself what I'm made of. And I have no choice. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it because I'm going to be on stage in about 20 weeks and like it's going to show, right? And I'm a competitive person. Like I have a lot of Aries in my chart, so I'm very like competitive in that way. And so it kind of like allowed me to reactivate that inner athlete and that inner like, you know, that athlete that was always in me, but kind of just got lost to the party girl, right? So it became a spiritual journey. Started off as a mindset journey, right? Like I want discipline, like I want to take action, like very like in that masculine energy. And it kind of evolved as, you know, years went by, right? And it got to the point where I had been competing for 3 years, 4 years, and my why had just shifted. Like my why was no longer doing this for me, doing this to win, doing this to get center stage, right? Doing this to, you know, I had a vision for myself. Like my goal was literally Miss Bikini Olympia. Like I literally, that was where I was going with that. And my why had shifted, and I have a YouTube video on it where I'm literally crying and my, you know, my partner's talking me through it. And I'm just like, cause my identity was bodybuilder. I didn't know how to identify outside of that. And my why had simply shifted where, I mean, I guess a big chunk that was missing was what kind of made me transition my why shift was that bodybuilding was triggering my eating disorders again. So I would get really lean. My coach was amazing, by the way. Like he never did anything that was crazy. It only got really hard, honestly, at the end weeks when we really had to push. But it was more of a mindset thing. So after my show, you know, your hunger hormones are kind of out of whack. You can't wait to grub, right? And I grubbed, and I had gained like 20 pounds in the first month and just rebounded heavy. I didn't show up on social media. I didn't want pictures of me taken. I felt so ashamed and just embarrassed, and just like, you know, like when you're super lean and then 2 weeks later people can see it. It's not like they're trying to be mean. It's just like they're genuinely confused. Like, how'd you go from super lean to now puffy as hell? You know what I mean? So it's just, you're feeling that. And you know what? It got to the place where I was like, I may love to win. I may love to compete. I may love the journey, but I don't know if it's worth activating my disordered eating again. And I felt like, you know what, like it reminded me of the pain that I went through pre-bodybuilding with my yo-yo dieting. For those who are listening and don't know what that is, basically when you are always on track, you're off track, you're on track, you're constantly going into diet mode, quote unquote diet mode, and then you're going back into all or nothing mindset, right? So going through that, it kind of brought back that pain of what I felt. And I was like, you know what? Like, I just want to, like, so many women deal with this. So many bodybuilders deal with this. Nobody talks about it.
I don't think they talk about it enough at all. Seriously.
I mean, yeah, like at least like I've seen people talk about it, some pros, but like really go into it. But it's kind of like this hush hush thing. And I just really felt like so many women struggle with their relationship with food. You know, how can I try to have a fitness page and want to empower women to achieve their goal body in a sustainable way if I'm out here, you know, doing cardio 2 hours a day and eating very low calories, trigger warning. But essentially my why had just shifted. And through me starting my business and shifting my why, the spiritual journey took a whole new level, because starting your own business is literally, it's personal development and spiritual development with a paycheck, essentially, because your business, your clients who you work with is essentially a reflection of you and what's going on and your belief systems. So, you know, my business and my fitness journey, it has all connected into my spiritual journey and has opened a lot of doors, because as you grow and as you choose new avenues for growth, guess what? New levels and new devils. Like, you literally hit a new level, new shadow comes out. And the only way you can hit the next level is by dealing with those shadows and those negative aspects of you and those parts of you that you've repressed and rejected and, you know, have shamed, or society has shamed. And that's kind of how it has come full circle. So
yeah. Wow. So I've followed your YouTube channel, but just hearing that in depth, I'm like, wow, that has been a journey. Can you talk a little bit more about, you spoke on it already, about kind of when you got into the flow of entrepreneurship, that kind of took your spirituality to the next level. Can you talk about that a little bit? And then also what you were doing in your fitness and wellness journey during, it just seems like a lot of shifts were happening.
a lot.
Like spiritual upgrades, going into entrepreneurship, managing your own fitness and wellness, bringing on clients, like, whoo.
A lot. A lot. It has definitely forced me to kind of just step into that. But with my fitness journey, with starting my business, right? When I had quit my job, I mean, obviously I'm going to try to keep it around my fitness journey, but when I had quit my job, my business was everything. Like I had, you know, my business was everything. It was all about my clients, making sure they were served. It was all about, you know, creating the vision. Nothing else mattered, including my fitness and health. So I had literally, and I spoke about this on my stories, where I literally took like 3 months, didn't train. My nutrition was shitty. I'm not even going to sit here and be like, oh, like I was intuitively eating. Like I wasn't. Like it was just kind of a crutch to do whatever I wanted. And I was under eating throughout the week, very sedentary on the weekends, you know, the normal restaurants, maybe some drinks, but those things add up. And I just got so unhealthy. I don't want to say like so unhealthy, but it was unhealthy for me. I was very inflamed. I was constantly bloated. My skin was breaking out. I felt sluggish, lazy, unmotivated all the time. And I was like, hell no, like this is not it. And I think a lot of the times, even with our clients, life hits them, or there's a priority that they feel is bigger than their health and fitness. We can put our health and fitness on the back burner because we're like, oh, I don't even have the mental energy to think about what I'm going to eat. I don't have the mental energy to go out on a walk and all of this. But it's like, you have to understand that. I mean, for me, my mental health and my performance deteriorated once I took away my fitness and health. And the walks, the hydration, the eating a breakfast, lunch, and dinner snack, you know, like, you know, managing those things, exercising actually made me a better leader. It made me a better partner. It made me a better coach and mother, like whatever that is for you. But in my fitness journey and my fitness and health, it kind of like rekindled like, wow, like my mental health is deteriorating the more my physical health is deteriorating, because it's essentially just self-abandonment. Like I essentially was just like, I literally said out loud, my health and fitness is just not a priority right now. And clearly I forgot what that felt like, but it just reignited the connection, the awareness of the connection of that your fitness, your physical fitness is not separate from your mental and your spiritual health. Okay, you can meditate, you can journal. If you are eating low vibrational foods, shitty foods, you're not nourishing your body, you're not exercising, physically that's going to manifest as anxiety, depression. It's going to affect you. Stress, that's the biggest thing we see in our community, is high stress levels. And a lot of times as women, we're very self-sacrificing. We don't feel like we're a priority. We don't feel the need to take care of ourselves. I mean, if you do, amazing, like, yes. But that's kind of what I went through, right? Where it was like, my health and fitness isn't a priority right now. This is a priority. It hit me hard. And it reminded me of like, wow, there's a huge connection. There's not a separation. And that's really what we kind of cultivate in our coaching community, is that it's not separate. Like, we'll have some of our clients go through life struggles and they're like, oh, I don't want to bother you with that. And I'm like, girl, if you're struggling to get your nutrition in and move your body because of life things, that matters. Like, there's a connection. So obviously with business, it just unlocked, you know, a whole other Pandora's box of limiting beliefs and belief systems around money and you know, what's important and all these things. So business is a whole another topic, but essentially it was all connected. And honestly, I couldn't be where I am today and without maintaining my physical health and fitness, because it supports my mental and spiritual health and fitness.
That was beautiful. So I'm interested in knowing like what your unique work looks like with your clients. I've only had 2, maybe 3 like fitness coaches in my lifetime, and none of them have incorporated spirituality or even maybe considered where I am emotionally at different stages in my life. And one thing I love about you and I love about your content, and all of my fitness trainers have been men. I'm taking a trainer break right now. But I said, if I'm going to connect with the trainer again, it's definitely going to be a trainer with a uterus, because I need somebody that is aware of the emotions and the hormones that go with women. But I was sharing that I love how you incorporate that into your content. Like, you express, you know, how us as women, how we go through different phases of our cycle. You talk about like the chakras and, you know, how certain chakras are connected to the digestive system. And if we aren't digesting our food, or we're having gut issues, like that's related to certain energy points within our body. So I'm interested in knowing if you could just give us a snapshot of how you uniquely work with your clients. Because just seeing your content, I know it's unique. I've only worked with 2 or 3 coaches, but they ain't doing what you're doing or talking about what you're talking about. I don't even see it considered.
Right. Well, it needs to be talked about, right? Because I just think that a lot of people, we're not taught emotional intelligence growing up. My mom, thank God, she was such an emotionally intelligent, always asking me my feelings. Even when I was like, can you stop asking me my feelings? And she would just always, because she didn't get that from her mom, you know, grandparents grew up in the Depression era, you know? And so I feel like I got that from my mom, and I was always just very intuitive, right? And it only made sense throughout, understanding what I've gone through my fitness journey. You can't have one without the other. Like, you literally cannot. You can try, but it's not going to be as fulfilling and long-term. You know what I mean? Anybody can follow a plan for 8 weeks, right? But what about your lifestyle? What about the limiting beliefs you have around carbs? What about, it's so much. So how we kind of like uniquely tie that in is it essentially, we call it like the mind, body, soul experience. So yes, we focus. Right. Yeah, we focus on it's a 6 to 12 month mentorship, and it is one-on-one. And essentially how we tie that in is we are big on community, and we basically just pour into our community the spiritual and mental aspects of growth. So we have bi-weekly community calls, and in those community calls, we'll talk about things like self-sabotage. And our last workshop was all about self-sabotage and overcoming self-sabotage. And our other head coach, Kiana, she's amazing. She, you know, she's very spiritual as well and has her degree in like psychology. You know, she's really loves cognitive behavioral therapy. So actually learning that like these things are like the way that we think a lot of the times is just programmings, right? Like it's just what we've been taught in our environment growing up, right? And we're wearing our mom's shirt and our dad's, you know, money doesn't grow on tree pants. And like we're taking on all these things, and it goes into our fitness journey, right? So if a woman has grown up always being quote unquote the chubbier kid, and she grows up and she has this relationship with food, she's going to have a limiting belief 9 times out of 10 that she can't eat the same foods as me, or she's going to gain weight, even though you only gain weight in a surplus, right? So we like to tie in those limiting beliefs, just help them work on it. We'll assign like journal prompts. We'll hop on a call with them. We do bi-weekly community calls, like I said, and every day, like we have a WhatsApp group chat. And right now it's even popping right now, but we'll always just ask like, how are you doing? What are your intentions for this week? Right. You know, yes, we have goals. We have a water goal. We want to go to the gym. We want to hit our macros, but how are you going to show up for yourself outside of that? Like, how are you going to care for your spirit? I asked one of my clients the other day, we had hopped on a call and I was like, do you have a morning routine? She's a single mom, very stressed out, was struggling with adherence. And I was like, what's your, like, do you have a morning routine? She's like, yeah, I have a morning routine. I'm like, what's that look like? She's like, oh, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I take a shower. I wake up my son, I pack his lunch, we go to work. I'm like, wait, so when that's a wake up, that's like what you've been doing. But I'm talking about like an actual, like
a
me
ritual.
time, like a ritual. Right. And she's like, oh, I never thought of that. I'm like, yeah, so let's start implementing that. So that's another way that we'll do that is we'll implement, you know, things like 5-minute meditation or 3-minute breath work. Because we hear all the time, I just don't have the time, limiting belief, right? We both know that you don't need to be in a completely quiet room, monk position to meditate. You could be at your desk, just close your laptop and just focus on your breath. And that's really what we teach them. And we also just teach them that meditation isn't about stopping your thoughts. It's about allowing them to flow so you can observe them, so you can identify, where is this coming from? Where is this stemming from? Because a lot of the times our girls will think that meditation is about keeping your thoughts back and stopping them. They get really frustrated, feel more stressed out. And ultimately our goal is just to obviously help them reach their fitness goals, heal their relationship with food and educate them, but increase their consciousness. Like that is our goal. My goal all around is to help increase the consciousness of every woman around me. And I do that through health. So by increasing their health consciousness and incorporating these, you know, I guess more spiritual grounding practices into their daily routines, when they leave, this is like, they meditate now. Like they know how to ground their nervous system. Like, yes, they know how much protein they need to grow booty and like maintain, you know, their physique, but they also know that when they're spiraling, they know how to stop themselves and how to redirect their thoughts. And I think that is the most powerful thing of it all, for sure.
I love that. What I hear is that with your clients, you really usher them through a healing journey. Like you're there throughout the process. I'm thinking back to when I first like got into Reiki years ago. As my spiritual consciousness began to grow, even my relationship with food started to change. I noticed that my body just didn't crave certain foods. And I think it's because I was vibrating at a different frequency. My vibration was no longer in alignment with some of those low vibrating foods, just because I was consciously in another space. I'm curious if you could talk to us a little bit about how you, maybe personally or even with your clients, how you address the relationship to food. When you were talking earlier, that really hit home for me, which is why I'm like taking a coach break right now. Because I want to learn I want to be educated about my own body versus somebody like, here, follow this meal plan, eat this, check in, and it's like, nobody's checking in on me. So I'm interested in hearing, and I know my audience would appreciate, because a lot of women, a lot of people, even men too, but for the sake of this podcast, a lot of women have this disconnection with food and this ill relationship to food. It's almost like all or nothing, or this is good, that's bad, or, you know, and I see you talking a lot in your content about, you know, the consistency during the week, and then the weekend, you just throw it all away. And I think that is so common. But I don't see many people talking about it outside of you. I'm like, Alexis keeps it real. Like, she gonna keep it real. Like, she really telling what's going on in these streets. Y'all don't want to talk about it, but she gonna talk about it. So because could you share with us? Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, like what you were saying is just like, you know, remind me your question. Sorry, I kind of blanked right there.
Yeah, so if you could tell us a little bit about how you personally, or even with your clients, address the negative relationship with food that I feel like we all at probably some point in our life have dealt with.
Right. No, it's the number one thing is unlearning. Okay. So we have a course, like an entire course that is assigned, like, yes, we do one-on-one coaching, but they have to get educated. We're huge on empowering their empowerment through education. So a lot of times when we are fear-based, it's because we're ignorant. We don't have the scientific knowledge to back okay, I know if I eat this bagel, scientifically, I'm not going to gain fat. Like, I'm literally not. And that's just a social construct that I've grown up on, looking at magazines, hearing what my mom says. It's all programmings, right? So first we work on unlearning the programmings that you've been taught growing up. Maybe it's your mom being like, no, I'm on a diet, I can't eat pasta. Or I thought you were on a diet, why are you eating that? Or just always hearing, it's hearing cutting out carbs, hearing you can't have that, hearing maybe you're looking at your favorite influencer and she's like maybe you want her, you know, you aspire to her body goals and like she eats like a mouse, right? Or maybe you look at bodybuilders, right? And you think, oh, like they're shredded, I got to do that, right? So it's so many programming. So that's the number one thing we focus on is unlearning. So it's the first video in our course is literally like 15 minutes of just like busting fitness myths and nutrition myths and unlearning. Like, will I gain weight if I eat after 8? And like, you know, is keto the best for losing fat? And it's like, we're breaking those things down. Now, the second thing is after we unlearn, then we can relearn. And that's where the educational piece comes in. So learning about your nutrition, learning about your macronutrients. I am huge on tracking your macros. It's not for everybody. It helped me heal my relationship with food. It helped a lot of our clients heal our relationship with food because we're not having them track their intake immediately in a deficit. That's why people feel restricted because they're trying to track their macros eating 1,500 calories, right? Try tracking your macros eating 2,000 calories. You'll feel very freedom. You'll eat like 2 meals and be like, dang, I still have 130 grams of carbs left. Like, what am I going to do? So you feel this abundance of food that you've never felt like you could have access to and still achieve your goals. So through educating them about their nutrition, about tracking their macros, about building out a meal, about, you know, just nutrition in general. Now they've unlearned, now they've relearned, now they just have to apply it. And through application is when we can coach them, like you said, throughout the process. So, you know, it's very much like in the moment. We check in, we have weekly check-ins once a week. They submit a form that asks them about their non-scale victories for the week, their mindset, their, you know, their spiritual well-being. And then of course, all the biofeedback, right? So we educate them throughout the way. If they say in their check-in form, you know, oh, this week, you know, I felt really guilty after eating this, we'll talk about it, right? What feelings did that bring up for you? You know, how did you feel before? You know, asking them questions and really just guiding them through that is huge. Another thing as well is obviously we have a lot of conversations before they sign on, right? Like, it's not just like apply here and like pay for it. And then like, you know, it's very one-on-one and like personable. So we're already having conversations. We already have a connection with most of the people before they sign on. So we already know the food things, the food struggles that they deal with, right? A lot of the times it really does come down to lack of education and programmings, truly and truly, because so many women have come to us, oh, I just have a sweet tooth, I have bad sugar cravings, or I'm addicted to sugar, you know, emotionally eat. And the second we get them eating consistently and enough for their body's needs, like eating at maintenance calories, enough protein, telling them to have something sweet every single day, like literally forcing them to like get out of their comfort zone, giving them recipes that they're not used to, right? That kind of like naturally just dissipates because they're seeing for themselves, they feel better. They're seeing for themselves, their physical composition is improving. So what do they have to complain about? It's not like it's the opposite, right? Like, it's not like everything's going wrong and we're, doing this. It's never really happens that way. Now, something that does happen is a lot of women are stuck in the diet or not cycle, right? Like the all or nothing cycle. So whenever they want to focus on just their health, the only thing they know is diet. Like, they don't know how to eat for health. They know how to eat for weight loss. You know what I mean? So something that we focus on is if someone does struggle with their relationship with food and they do want to lose weight, we have phase 1 in our client success journey. And phase 1 is literally all about eating for just basic health and like teaching them the basics, focusing on consistency, focusing on setting the foundation. Because a lot of times we think, okay, I'm getting healthy. We just are programmed to think weight loss. Like, we never think building muscle will actually get me closer to my goal. And it's actually an abundance of food. We think that is weight gain. So we're very like black and white. It's either I lose weight, I'm skinny, or I gain weight, I'm quote unquote trigger warning fat, right? And that's how a lot of women think. So by incorporating the education piece, the unlearning piece, the one-on-one coaching by, if she's struggling with something, talking about it, right? Let's work through it. So that way we can work through it, right? And then of course, the community aspect as well is huge on just supporting the women in their nutrition journeys, right? In their relationships with food. Because when you see another woman put in the group chat, this is my lunch for today, made homemade turkey burgers. I never thought that I could have burgers and like still focus on my food journey. Other women are like, wow, like, okay, like I feel a little good about this, So it's all encompassing, and a relationship with food, in my experience, 99% of the time stems from lack of education, lack of actual nourishment of your body. And then of course your emotional state, right? So people who turn to food for, like you said, once your consciousness increases, your relationship with food can increase. Because when we work on like someone, let's just say that they're actually overeating, right? Like they are emotionally eating, they rely on food, it's kind of like their drug of choice. Then what we do is we actually just focus on more of the mindset piece, still stabilizing their blood sugar and things like that, because underneath that emotional eating is restriction and lack of nourishment. But essentially when we do teach them better coping ways that feel just as good, right? Because a lot of times we lean on food because it feels good. It gives us the dopamine hits. And sometimes when we replace that with something else, like read a book, people are like, that's not the same. You know what I mean? So if we can find something that gives them that same happiness or high, right? Whether that's, meditation, or just like literally going on a run, like it depends on the client, right? Then now they have a more healthier coping mechanism, and now their relationship with food is improved as well.
For those that are listening, I want you to know that everything that she has just explained that her program offers, everybody ain't offering that. Just to let y'all know. So make sure you guys definitely check out the show notes to see how you can connect with Lexi and Lexi Fitness, because they are truly out here doing some holistic healing work in relation to health and nutrition. Like I'm thinking back to my very first bodybuilding coach, and I remember I came on my period and I checked in and I had gained like 3 pounds, and he grilled me.
No way.
I'm like, dude, like I barely made it into the gym today. Like I got he's like, that's not an excuse. Da 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 da. Like you didn't even bother to ask like how I'm feeling. Like, so just the fact that you have like this community approach and you genuinely care for your clients, and you see all of your clients as an individual, because what works for one person may not work for the other. One woman's cycle might be different from the other. Somebody might be on their cycle and they can still go and deadlift. Somebody might start their cycle and might just need to do yoga for the first 2 days of their cycle, kind of use those 2 days as rest days, and then they kind of get there. So the fact that you're just very individualized, I do want the listeners to know that that is truly unique to your program. And I don't know, maybe you do, I'm sure you've done your own mindset work, but I don't know if you know how truly powerful and beneficial your program is and how truly unique and important it is, because ain't everybody doing that.
I love that in you, but you know, it's crazy when you say that. I feel like I'm so out of the loop with how crappy coaches can be still to this day. I think that the fitness coaching business is a very big, like, it's evolving, so it's not as easy, but I think definitely before it's a very easy money business in the sense that like anybody with a certification can get you fit, right? But what about like actually changing their lives? Like what about actually
Yes.
empowering them into that state? And I hate when people, and especially women, I had signed someone the other day that went through this where they have one coach and they ruin the entire health and fitness. Like they have a negative connotation with the gym, they have a negative connotation with healthy food, they're very like negative connotation with health and fitness in general because they get kind of like scarred. And that's kind of, you know, the community we're trying to cultivate. And I appreciate you just reminding me that what we do is unique, because I think that when you get caught up in the day-to-day mundane, I always try to connect back to our vision, which is basically just trying to help as many women who want it as possible to break those cycles and achieve the vision that they have for themselves in a healthy, sustainable, abundant way. But it's crazy that people still have coaches like that. And hey, y'all can come to me if y'all had a
yes, please, guys,
we'll
please check her out. No, seriously, and especially the education piece. I feel like that's where I am right now in my own fitness journey. I feel like spiritually, I mean, I always feel like I can do better, but spiritually, I'm in a good space.
Always.
Like I am in a good space spiritually, energetically. But with the fitness component now, and that's why I keep saying, like, I'm taking a coach, a trainer break right now because I want to be self-sustainable. Like, I don't want to be dependent. I want to learn. So the fact that you actually take your clients through a phase of unlearning, relearning, like continued education is so beautiful because I have not had that experience. It's been check in, here's your meal plan, here's your workouts, see you at check-in. Like, what about educating me on my macros? Am I on high fat? Am I on low carb? I mean, what am I like? What am I supposed to be doing? Do I get a cheat meal? Do I not? Like, can I have a glass of wine? Like, no one has ever, like, what does your lifestyle look like? Oh, it's back to school. Your daughter's starting school. Okay, so you can't work out 6 days a week. You can only do 4 now. Okay, so okay, you're more of a morning person. Okay, so you need fasted workouts. Okay, great. Like, nobody has like considered my lifestyle. And I think right now in this phase of my life, I'm all about peace. Like, I'm all about peace. I have in human design, I have a defined root chakra. So I do love working out. I have that adrenaline. And for me, I wake up with like anxiety. So I have to work out first thing in the morning. So just, I'm like in this phase of just learning me, right? Because where I was even last March at that, you know, for the competition is not who I am in my spiritual journey right now. And it's not who I am in my fitness journey. So I'm in this phase of, I want to learn, Kiera, like what different foods, you know, agree with your body more. So like for me, it's dairy. So I don't incorporate a lot of dairy because I just kind of process of elimination. Oh, that bloats me. It makes me feel this way. Like, so really just learning, you know, so I really love that you have an individualized approach with your clients and that you educate them. Because I don't see that teaching happening. It's here's the program, follow it, check in, goodbye.
Well, because you know, ignorance is bliss for some people. You know, it's you know, I've been in coaching mentorship groups, business coaching mentorship groups for fitness coaches. So I see like what kind of goes on in the mindset space of things. And I'll hear a lot of like fears around educating their clients because then they won't need them anymore. And it's like, I got goosebumps. Like, I'm like, it's coming from a scarcity mindset, a fear mindset. Like, well, I'm scared to educate my clients and then they won't need me anymore. Or, you know, I can charge this if I just give them that and they don't require much of me. I can kind of just, you know, here's your thing, here you go. And, you know, that's why it's important to find what coach works best for you, right? Like, I do believe that with women, having a, you know, a woman coach, not even necessarily women, there's a lot of crappy woman coaches out there as well, but naturally we just have more emotional intelligence. We understand the body, we understand our bodies, we're naturally more compassionate, right? I would say I have a good balance of masculine and feminine energy. So I could give you that tough love that you can get from a man, you know, who will tell you how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I know each person individually, how they like to be communicated to and what they need. And like, you're not going to lose that tough, you know, that tough love piece. but we are understanding. Like, we hold you accountable in a way that's, how can we support you this week, right? Do we need to make adjustments? There's two different types of approaches you can do when hiring a coach, right? This isn't something, if you ask someone, they're probably going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But there's a coach-centered approach and a client-centered approach. A coach-centered approach will be more like, here's the meal plan. Don't ask me questions. Just trust me. Do it. Let me know how it goes. If you're not doing these things, then I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to get results then. So good luck. It's kind of like a very egotistical, cocky, like, coach says, this is what goes, right? A client-centered approach is like everything you just described, right? It's kind of what sets us apart as well. Is it's like, okay, how can we teach you how to be adaptable to your environment, instead of being like, well, I'm going out of town, I can't follow my meal plan, can't, like, how can we teach you how to be adaptable, right? How can we teach you how to focus on, on your habits and the mindset portion of things, right? Like how you said, naturally, because you're focusing on simply just connecting with your body and what works well for you. If you go on vacation next week, you're going to be more naturally inclined to be like, I'm going to get in my water. Like, I'm going to try to hit my water goal. I'm going to make sure that I'm eating nutrients. It's no different than what we have our clients do, when they go on vacation, because that's what's realistic, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's going to set them up for success in the future. So that's extremely important.
I love that. You're reminding me of a vacation that I've been on, a couple of vacations on a meal plan, and running around. What's coming to my mind is running around Mexico, me and my husband trying to find items for our meal plan. And when I reflect on that trip, we were in Mexico for a month, and I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy the trip, because I did, but it was stressful because I was, and I'm like, and now I'm thinking back, I'm like, girl, like, why did you stress so
Go
much?
Get some tacos.
Yes, would you just go down to the corner and get the tacos off the street? Like,
right.
But going from off the stage, it was still that stage approach, right? And I never felt connected to Kiera, not the bodybuilder, and I remember walking off the stage like, all right, came in 5th place. I feel like a winner, ready to go back to my life. And it was like, nope, you still gotta, in order to be whatever, in order to have whatever body goals, you gotta stick to this. And I'm like, yo, I thought we was just doing that because we was going to the stage. I didn't know like this had to be my life. And I think that's what kind of set me like, you know what, actually, that doesn't work. So again, the fact that you're customizing these plans off of real life people. Everybody ain't no athlete. These are just your average moms, your average college students. These are just normal people. They want to live their life, but still feel good, and just, and be well. So I love that.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me back to what you were talking about, just like random thought off, but I thought of was how, your chakras will affect how that kind of plays into like your health and fitness journey. If you're stressed, right, it can manifest differently for some people. You're into human design, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. But for some of our clients, when they're stressed out about things, they lose their appetite. It's kind of like this block in their sacral, right? Or their solar plexus, that confidence and that, that confidence, that willpower, that motivation, that appetite, right? That fire is gone. And quite literally your appetite. Some people, it becomes overactive. So then they are wanting to eat, they stress eat, right? And that's like a more of an overactive energy, chakra thing going on down there. So even things like, if one of our clients is feeling really overwhelmed, and I don't know, sometimes we're very intuitive. So we'll be like, let me ask you, like, what's your screen time been this week? Like, how much have you been on technology? And they're like, 9 hours a day. And I'm like, okay. And in your check-in form, you're experiencing headaches, you're experiencing a light sensitivity. That's like third eye chakra blockage, that's from overstimulation. So then we have them chill out with the technology for a little bit. And you wouldn't think that's something that you do with a fitness coach, you know what I mean? Like, but it's very all encompassing. And honestly, I couldn't do it any other way. I wouldn't be as passionate if it was just macros and training. We have to have that deep health piece. And it's my favorite thing when people get pregnant and now they know how to be healthy during their pregnancy. They graduate from our coaching and they hit us up 6 months later, like, I'm still maintaining like my goal physique and like my lifestyle. Like I don't feel restricted. I don't feel stressed. I don't feel overwhelmed. And yeah, that's kind of the goal, right? So
I love it. I love it. So before we wrap up, I just have a final question so people can know how to connect with you and what type of clients do you work with? So do you work with clients that may struggle from PCOS? Do you work with women that may be trying to conceive? Maybe they're already pregnant, maybe they're post-pregnancy and they're trying to snap back and get back into their body they had before baby. Do you work with women that may be dealing with some injuries? Like what type of women do you connect with? Do you work with?
yeah, so basically just woman period. PCOS, we help women with PCOS. We don't really like, we just, like I said, we try to help as many women who need it and want it. Obviously, if we don't feel like it's a good fit, like we will refer them out. But most of the time, who we work with is a woman who doesn't feel good in her body. She feels like a stranger in her own body. She doesn't know where to start. She doesn't know what to do. She's highly intimidated of the process. She, you know, has very low self-confidence, maybe low self-worth. She doesn't really know where to start. Her relationship with food is crappy. She's kind of just always starting a diet, gaining the weight back. Like she doesn't know how to make it sustainable for her, but she knows that if she can just take that chance on herself, that she can make it happen. Like she knows that there is this vision that she has for herself is attainable for her, but she just needs help. So that is pretty much, you know, what it looks like, you know, when you work with us. Like that's pretty much the woman that we work with. But we work with women with PCOS. We work with women who want to get healthy to conceive in the future. Just had a client text me right now. We've been together for 6 months and she just got pregnant. So that's so after.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So
will you continue with her? Like, will you modify her workouts to, you know, as her belly grows and things like that?
Right. So yes, we do also work with pregnant women as well. I will say that it is a little bit more different just because first trimester, you know, you've got food aversion, you've got nausea. So it's kind of like just eat whatever your body like allows you to. So we do work with women who are pregnant, but we mainly just focus on like the habits, you know, just nourishing your body where you can, if it's breaded chicken nuggets with ketchup, cool, like whatever you can get. But she is going to be graduating and she's very advanced. So I have no, you know, I'm just very grateful for her, and she'll be back once she's, you know, has the baby and is ready to kind of, you know, focus back on herself. But even like after you have a baby, like there's no pressure to bounce back immediately. I think that, you know, we always put this pressure to bounce back. And like, I had a client who just had a baby. She just had the baby, hit me up like, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, like, let's hop in a call. Let's, you know, you could do what you want. I'm going to support you, whatever. But I just don't want you to feel like you're looking in the mirror and you're like, no, I need to get back on it. Because right now, like, don't feel pressure. Like literally you and your baby, like soak in that time, nourish your body, go on walks, like stretch, like do what you can. And then we will get back into it.
I love it. So I'm thinking about my mom right now. My mom was actually looking to gain weight. She wanted to gain some healthy weight. Do you also coach women that want to gain weight versus lose weight? Okay.
Yeah. So we work with everybody. You can, if you want to gain weight, if you want to lose weight, if you want to recomp, which is the scientific term for tone up. Okay. Every woman we talk to wants to lose fat, gain muscle, tone up. That's essentially recomping. But yes, we do work with women who want to gain weight as well, who want to lose weight. Everyone, I would say the only women we don't work with, I mean, we don't work with bodybuilding athletes.
I was going to ask you that. You don't coach anyone to the stage? No,
nobody to the stage. No, I used to want to, but yeah, I just think I kind of grew out of it. Who knows for the future? I would love to take a lot of women under my wing, but I think that fire for like bodybuilding has to be there for me to do it. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I want you to let everybody know where can they reach you, because I know they're going to be running to reach out to you. Like literally somebody that has a holistic approach, not to just weight loss, but just health, fitness, and spirituality, like as a whole. You're a freaking unicorn. Like You
I love
are a
that.
unicorn. Like I mean, and I'm not out here in these streets, but just what I can see, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
You're the best. No, that
Oh,
is
so how can they
means
reach
a lot.
you?
Yeah, so y'all can reach me on Instagram at flexi, as in flexible dot fitness. You can reach me on YouTube. I actually recently changed my name to Your Universal. Felt like I was having identity issues there. Like I don't know how to post on YouTube without it being prep, you know. You can find me on YouTube as well if you want to get a little bit more sneak peek into my life and my growth as I grow my business, as I spiritually grow, as I evolve. I believe it's yeah, I think it's let me double check real quick. But that's like the main places you can find me is Instagram at .flexifitness,
And do
flexi.fitness.
they have to apply to work with you? Is there application process that they have to go through?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
there is an application process. You can find it in my link in my bio.
Awesome.
And that is where you can access me. And then yes, my YouTube channel is Flexi Fitness 1.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, your
Thank
expertise.
you.
And again, thank you so much for the work that you are doing with your clients. And if any of her clients are listening to this, y'all got a unicorn for a coach. Like,
I love
I
that.
don't
No,
even
I'm
know
gonna
if
tell
they
them.
know. Like, go ahead and step out there with another coach if you want. I bet you'd be right back. They not doing it like this.
Hey, I don't even gotta say it, right? But
Yes, yes.
no,
And the
I
last thing I
appreciate
want to
you.
add is I'm glad
Yes.
that you say graduate. Like I love that you have your clients graduate because that tells me that there is a level of sustainability that you're helping them to reach so that they don't grow, you know, dependent upon you. And that just
Right.
really shows where you are spiritually. Because I don't see, again, a lot of people doing it. And you spoke on that just about the scarcity. Like, you know, if I teach them, then they won't need me. But little do people know, if you continue to educate and teach people, that doesn't mean that they're going to leave. Like they're just going to be
Yeah.
even more connected to you, in your
Right.
business process and your business model, because you have taught
Right.
them something. They'll refer other
Right.
people, they'll keep working with you, you know. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
point that out. Like people can graduate, and it sounds like they can graduate and even come back if they need, you know,
Yeah.
if they need to.
Yeah, that usually happens. We've had people for 2 years and I'm like, how you feeling? Like, you know, I would never want them to leave, but I like to, you know, ask because there's a period where we resign and they're like, no, I'm good. Like, I want to stay. Like, I love it here, just chilling. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, shit. And that's from me coming from a place of abundance, you know?
absolutely.
And yeah, it's not easy, but you have to think about other people. Like, you can't think about yourself. Again, so many coaches, they just want you for your progress photos or they just want the money. And um, again, every coach, it has to align with you. But that's why alignment is huge for us. But if you guys are listening and you are in that space where your relationship with food is just like non-existent, you've always craved that higher relationship with your body, and you have like these also fitness goals that you've always wanted to achieve, but you just feel like you're just genetically not that person, or you're too, you know, mature at this point, or it's, you know, too far gone, hit me up. And I doubt that. Everything you
Yes.
said is true.
I love it. Well, thank you so much again. And you guys make sure you check out the show notes to reach out to Flexi Fitness.
Thank you, Kiera.